this foot pad thing.
Oh, the exercise board. Gotcha.
Everything that's in here, the games.
Okay.
Oh, this video.
Yeah. Oh boy. How much for the Tommy and Pam sex tape?
Oh my God! I can't believe that's in there. I can't believe.
What kind of garage sale is this anyhow?
I can't believe that it's in there. I did not.
What are you going to do? You go to the garage sales and you find everything, even panos. So it kind of reminds me of a guy I used to work with. His name was Johnny Juice. This was when I worked in a bakery a long time ago. Johnny Juice was an admitted steroid user, and it seems like all the trend now for guys to hop on YouTube and admit that they use steroids and tell you about the steroids that they used. But back then, it's completely taboo. You didn't want to tell anybody you were taking steroids. And Johnny was really upfront. He had a tattoo on his arm. It said Johnny Juice. So he loved it though. He would tell me all about steroids and what kind of steroids he's taking and whatnot. And I always wanted to do steroids, but I never had the guts to do it. I think Jose Canseco was like the biggest deterrent for me. I remember him on Howard Stern talking about how you take the steroids and your balls shrivel up, and which I never really cared about. What do you do with your balls anyhow? I wish they would disappear. They're horrendous looking. But they say basically when you take the steroids, you know, that's your source of testosterone. So, you know, your nuts are like your testosterone factory. So they shrivel up because they're not being used. They basically atrophy. So, which is no problem. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think your dick shrivels up. That's nonsense. I think your dick stays the same size. But, what are we talking about here? So anyway, so basically when you get off the steroids, which you eventually have to do, you can't stay on the steroids, you have to cycle on and off of them and whatnot. So when you get off the steroids, then naturally your testosterone levels come down, but the ball factory doesn't start making testosterone again for a little while. So you have this time period where you have like real low testosterone. And you know, I always thought it was so sad to see athletes hit their peak and then start coming down. So that's like when you come off the steroids, you start losing your muscle mass, and on top of that, your testosterone levels are in the ground. I mean, you're probably crying into your soup and in a massive depression. I mean, who the fuck needs that? That's the thing that scared me about the steroids. Not doing them, coming off of them. So, you know, listen. We're all natural over here on the Bidhead 1000 show. Yeah, so Johnny's gig was, he basically would work, this guy would work all day. On the way home, he would stop off at the pano shop. And the guy at the pano shop knew all the panos that Johnny wanted. He knew all the stars the porn stars that Johnny was into, and he put all those tapes aside. It's almost like a comic book shop. How you could say to the owner, you know, I'm looking to collect this series or whatnot, and the owner would keep a box. I don't know. Back in the day when I would go to the comic book store, you had guys who had their own box behind the counter, and the comic book shop owner would load your box, and then you'd come in, and some guys would come in months later. They'd have like 2 long boxes full of comics they had to buy. Anyhow, that was like that for Johnny at the pano shop. And basically, Johnny says to me one day, he goes, I got some pornos for you. You want them? And you know, me being a young guy, I was like, you know, what am I going to say, no? So I was like, sure, I'll take them. So what you have to understand, he was in a transition period from converting all of his VCR tape pornos over to DVDs. He actually hired a carpenter to come to his house, and he lived with his mother, by the way, and build his room with shelves, wall-to-wall shelves in his room for his porno collection. And I used to say to him, what does your mother think about that? He goes, my mother's never been in my room. He goes, I got a lock on the door. She's never come in. So, and basically what he would do is he'd go to the porno shop, he'd get his pornos, he'd go home, and he'd whack himself to sleep, and then come into work the next day. And that was his routine. I swear, there's guys out there like this. So anyway, so the next day he comes into work, and he comes to, I swear to Christ, he comes through the door with 2 garbage bags full of panos. And he comes in, he's like, hey Jess, I got him. And I'm like, okay. And he takes them and he puts them inside of the refrigerator. He says, just take them when you leave. Now you have to understand, we had girls working in the bakery here, and they're in and out of the refrigerator all day. So they're going in, and basically what happens is one girl like looks in the bags. Obviously, you walk into the refrigerator one day and there's 2 huge garbage bags, like bristling, you know, with boxes popping out of the sides, you know, and she opens it up and she sees it's loaded with panos. So naturally, the word spreads throughout this bakery like wildfire. So I wind up, when I leave, I take the 2 bags. I didn't even know how to get them out of the bakery. I take the 2 bags and I go home with them. I wind up having to build a cabinet for them. I gave 1 bag to my buddy Frank, who put him in his van because he had, he had a TV VCR in his van. I kept one of them, but I didn't know where to put them because at the time I was living with my parents. So I didn't know where to put them. I had to build a cabinet for them so my mother wouldn't find them. Anyhow, long story short, the next day the owner comes up to me, the manager of the bakery, whatever, and he's so uncomfortable with the way he approached me. He goes, "Hey Jess, about the," and he's doing one of these, you know, with Johnny, and he's going like that, and I just went like, I completely understand. I said, don't worry. He goes, and he just goes, if you're gonna just in the parking lot, and I was like, yeah, no problem. So that was that. Johnny came from jail. He was in jail for a while because he had a counterfeit credit card machine down in his basement. He was banging out fake credit cards. And actually, when they went to arrest him, he wouldn't admit where he got it, and he told them they were going to lock his mother up if he didn't tell them where he got the machine. And then he said where he got the machine, and he got locked up. He went to jail for years. Let me tell you something. Jail changes a guy. I can tell you other stories about Johnny. Jail changes a guy. And then, and I guess somebody had ratted him out, and Johnny went down to Florida and actually looked for the guy. And he waited. Oh, let me tell you something. He waited for the guy. He was down in the gymnasium. He waited for the guy to do his bench presses, and he ran up on him and threw the bar down onto his chest. Okay, so wait, this is getting boring. Here we go. We went to that garage sale and we picked up some Wii stuff and a Nintendo. What is this? A DS. This is the old school DS. So let me see if it turns on. You can put the Game Boy Advance games there in the bottom. DS games in the top. I think I have a plug for this. We got a plug. It's not powering on. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to plug it in now, and then by the end of the show, the grand finale will be to see if it works. Isn't that exciting? Hang on. Okay, so we got the new Super Mario Brothers for the DS. And a couple Wii games here. She had a bunch of Wii games. My knowledge of the Wii, I mean, you could basically fit in a pen cap. So I just take a guess on some marquee titles. I'm not going to lie to you. My main objective with these Wii games is just to sell them off. So here we go. Punch Out. I wasn't even aware there was a Punch Out game on the Wii. Need for Speed Undercover. New Super Mario Brothers Wii. Epic Mickey. You know, I can remember well, kind of when I first started watching YouTube videos, I can remember people's anticipation for Epic Mickey and watching a few reviews for it. And it's so weird now to go from when it was first coming out to, you know, finding it at the garage sale for a couple bucks. And Mario Kart Wii. So there we go. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 6 games and the DS. 20 bucks. I think I paid $20 for it. It's in the video. I don't know. If I paid $20 for it, that's too much. I probably should have went for 10. Maybe I got this for 15. No, I got it for 20 bucks. I don't know. I think I could have done better than that. All right. Moving along. Okay, the next garage sale. I recorded it, but I don't know. It's just boring. A couple of PS2 games for $1 a piece. The 6 of them here, we got them for $5. Ultimate Spider-Man. It seems like with the PS2, this game always shows up somewhere. When there's a pile of PS2 games. Ultimate Spider-Man. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Vice City for the PlayStation was probably one of the... When I got my PlayStation, Vice City was one of those games that I bought when it first came out. That was one of the rare occasions where Bidhead 1000 bought a game that was actually still relevant. And I loved it. I really loved it. Vice City, I think, is my favorite game in the Grand Theft Auto series. Of course, I didn't play past San Andreas. So there you go. Stuntman. Stuntman, I think isn't that a sequel to Driver? I don't know. Remember Driver for PlayStation? That was a great game. I love when you took the black guy for a ride in the beginning, like you were trying to get jobs and whatnot, so you had to prove that you knew how to drive the car. And the guy with you was this black guy. And if you like did any crazy move or crash, you go, "You crazy?" All right. Gran Turismo 3, A-Spec. Grand Theft Auto 3. And Burnout. Burnout. If I'm not mistaken, I hear really good things about the Burnout series. I could be wrong, but that's what I think I hear. Anyhow, that's it. 6 games, $5. PlayStation 2. Okay, are you guys ready for the grand finale? I'm really excited about this. Here we go. Da 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 da. Okay, I'm Bidhead 1000. You just tuned into the greatest video game program in the history of human civilization. I'll see you next time.